So now let's move on to weapon number 5. This weapon is called authority. Think for a minute about the word authority and try to identify one person in your life who has authority and ask yourself, why do they have authority? Throughout the world, most of us are raised with a lot of respect for authority, right? And that authority can be very real, such as for our parents or a police officer, as an example. But authority can also be unspoken. We're all familiar with real authority, but unspoken authority can also have a great deal of influence on other people. So in your current and future career, it's important to make sure that other people know your real and unspoken authority. Plus, you should learn to recognize that authority in other people who you might wish to influence. So this makes me think about the opening question we considered. In that question, I asked you to identify one person in your life who has authority and to ask yourself, why do they have authority? Well, authority can be seen in many different ways. For example, the way a person dresses. Imagine you go into a doctor's office and the doctor has a white jacket on. Why is that? That's because doctors who wear a white jacket are seen by others to be more professional or competent, and they have authority. Even in advertising, for example, with medical products or dentist products, etc., we can often see pictures of doctors wearing a white jacket. That isn't just a coincidence, because those cases and the advertising agencies and the doctors are deploying the authority weapon. And now think about people that you might be reporting to in your company or your job who have power. Do they dress in a particular way which might reflect their authority? You ever noticed in airports that pilots have 4 stripes on their jackets compared to co-pilots and navigators? In my early days when I worked in a factory, all of the factory floor workers, including myself, wore a blue shirt. But management wore white shirts, and they were really white. And I always wanted to have a white shirt someday. In fact, just by dressing like the people who are already in positions of power or authority can in itself be quite effective. Although a white shirt on the factory floor wouldn't be very white for long. But here's an important point though. Don't take this message about dressing for success too serious. You don't have to totally change the way you look, because that is not the real purpose here. The real purpose here is to remind you that true authority in the workplace is mostly noticed through behavior. And that behavior should be as natural as possible and consistent. So it's not just about the way you dress. An incompetent doctor, even if they wear a white jacket, is still incompetent and can't be trusted. So behavior is the key to the authority weapon. And behavior can be seen in many different ways. For example, body language, or the tone of your voice, or the lack of insecurity, or security. Or even if a person is seen as being composed or in control in a rather chaotic situation, or being seen as relaxed and laid back, having that kind of character that, it's okay. All of these can have a positive impact on others. And all of these examples are behavioral traits which help to demonstrate authority. Now, according to Professor Cialdini, just by acting assertive or starting to lead others, you'll notice that many people will have the urge to follow you. Why is that? That's because people are actively seeking out authority. And the reason this happens is because everyone knows that when authority or leadership is absent or not present, people become insecure, unsure, and don't know what to do. As we say in business, there are no leaders without followers. And here's an important point. Under conditions where authority or leadership is absent, the people who act with natural authority, dress for the role, or exhibit certain types of behavior can have a great deal of influence on others. And the movies are full of these kind of cases, okay? The miners are under the ground and they're trapped. There seems to be no hope for survival. Who do they look for authority and leadership? The person who remains composed or calm while everyone else is in a panic, etc., etc. A big theme in a lot of movies. In business school, we talk a lot about marketing, economics, finance, etc. We only talk a little bit about body language, but maybe we should emphasize that a little bit more, because body language can be a very effective way to exhibit authority. And some examples of this might be not moving too much compared to a stillness in the head or a direct attitude, direct eye contact, taking a lot of space, assuming a high posture, which they call the Alexander technique in acting. Another one is by having an effortless facial expression or not showing stress or worries. Everything will be okay. Professor Amy Cuddy of the Harvard Business School has done a considerable amount of research on this subject, and Amy refers to it as power posing. And Amy studied how our body posture influences others. And her research even showed that practicing a power pose, which means standing tall with your hands stretched high above your head for just 2 minutes, by doing that, a person's testosterone levels or the confidence hormone increases by more than 20%, and cortisol levels, the stress hormone, decreases by the same level. In other words, in just 2 minutes, you can alter your level of authority. And this is a good tip to practice before any stressful situation like a job interview, etc. But here again, a word of caution. One should always remember not to be seen as too overconfident. Why is that? Because overconfidence can be dangerous in our relationships with others. In your future career, overconfidence can have a negative impact also on your decision making, so try to manage your overconfidence. But when deploying the fifth career weapon or authority, please remember to be genuine and real, because in the end, real is appreciated much more than false behavior, and can positively influence other people during your career. And finally, try to remember you can get away with anything if you do it with enough authority.